What is up, Rad Potential YouTube? I'm Mr. Rad, and in today's video, we're headed down to National Corvette Museum Racetrack in order to do some testing on the RADX7. In addition to Calvin and his dad Matt are going to be duking it out in both RX8s, and we're going to see who can put down the better time, or at least we're going to make sure that these two brand new racetrack drivers have a real good time driving Mazda RX8s, and ideally, from the first session to the last session, we see a big improvement. So let's get right to the racetrack and get to turning some laps. The first few sessions of the day are always get out and don't crash your car. You do not want to be the guy that stuffs it in the wall in the first session on cold tires, cold feet, the bright and early morning jitters. You just don't want to do that. So the first few sessions, we took it easy. Just go out and drive the cars, traction control on, uncrashable RX8s when you have the traction control on. And they had a great time just learning. I rode with Calvin for a lap as well and tried to give him some pointers. One of the biggest things at Corvette Museum is it's a lot of late apexes. So that's driving into the corner and then turning in late. Especially when you have a momentum car like a RX8, they don't have the horsepower that a Corvette does or even the RADX7 does to be able to drive into a corner, point the car in the direction and floor it, and you can get out of the corner as fast as possible. So let's hear what Matt and Calvin have to say after their first major morning session, getting some lap times in, and finally getting to see some results of their lap times improving throughout the day and what they've learned. All right, guys, we're out here at the racetrack. It is Matt versus Calvin in the RX8s, but we've already been ripping on the day. So Calvin's been a little bit faster, but they're both learning a bunch. We've also got this guy banging his door out of his Mustang in the background, so I apologize for the banging. But what would you say, Matt, has been the most important thing you've learned today? So far,
most important thing I've learned today, not to overdrive it and stay out of your mirrors.
Yeah.
The mirrors are the bad part.
Do you think the RX8 is like a great, as far as this is your second time ever driving on the track, would you choose the RX8 over, like, I don't know, you've driven a bunch of different cars, but as far as something to learn in?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Chassis wise, it's just excellent. But I mean, sticky tires would make a big difference, as you know, but yeah, it's a great chassis, well balanced, makes up for all my mistakes.
Yeah. Have you done any laps with traction control off?
No.
Okay.
Pretty sure I'd been around on that last one. If I didn't, does it save me on one corner?
Yeah, that's what I was telling at the beginning of the day. I was like, guys, just leave the traction control on. It's going to tell you where you're messing up. Once you get a couple laps where the traction control isn't intervening, then turn it off, and then you'll be allowed to mess up in the places that it didn't help you, you know? So it'll be interesting, though, if you do the last session, try to with it off a little bit, or we can put the sticky tires on it
before I go home.
Yeah.
Yeah. It definitely saved me. I come around the corner a little too hot.
Yeah.
That was the most it's intervened.
Yeah. Which corner was it?
It was before the hairpin, so that's for the big sweeper before you head down into the hairpin.
Okay. So like 7, 8, or 9.
Yeah. What's the hairpin? 10.
10. Yeah.
So yeah, 7. That big long sweeper.
Yeah.
Come in there pretty hot. I had a good run through them first 2 corners prior, and had a little too much speed.
Heck yeah.
And the deck pin definitely kicked out, and
then it brakes for you.
And it groaned and moaned and did some braking for me. So otherwise, I'd have probably been around. But.
Yeah, well, that's a safe place to crash. Just the walls aren't very close in those corners for sure.
But yeah, been good. Been a learning experience.
So have you guys been able to like drive together? As far as I know, you're both a novice, but like following each other's lines, or
actually kept you in sight most of the whole session. Awesome. So. You kept getting a little bit further away on the end of the straightaway up front, but I can still see you.
Yeah. Have you all had a straightaway where you can, is the green car faster than the purple car in a straight line?
I think the purple car is faster, top speed wise.
Okay.
Because I think his top speeds have been faster than mine.
Yeah.
I think it pulls just a little more.
Okay.
But yeah.
Calvin, what's been, I know I rode with you for a lap, so
we'll
insert that lap here.
Yeah.
We're talking about some stuff. So have you been able to apply the things that you've learned?
Yeah, this last time around it was a bit pretty helpful. Just like making sure I'm entering corners later. That's loud, but not like.
It'll die.
Yeah.
It's a forward. It'll die.
But making sure I don't turn too soon. Like I'm braking all right, I think, like you were saying, but then not turning in right away and going a little deeper in the corner and then turning in. So I was getting after the sinkhole figured out pretty good. Awesome. And then I had two of the laps went pretty well as far as the inside on, was that 5?
Yeah.
Coming in through there, and then I had one time I came in just a little too fast, and I went into the corner. I'm like, oh, too wide, and I had to like really ease off and get it back over. But outside of that, I never really had anything like traction control fighting me just because I'm trying to turn, and the car hasn't like completely figured itself out yet. But I never had anything where it was like it was gonna loop out and save me. Just like braking and then trying to turn and made it mad.
Far and away, my favorite part of the weekend was being able to facilitate Matt and Calvin just being on track together. This is their second time ever going to the racetrack, and it's cool to put them in cars that are basically identical. The previous time they were there, the green car had a lot more aggressive tires, and it just really wasn't exactly the most fair between the cars, but at least today, they were able to learn and progress together. It was so cool to see them sitting around the pits and just talking laps, like where they were entering on this corner and speeds into this corner and what was kind of troubling them and where they were trying to pick up some speed. It was so cool to see, you know, father-son racetrack bonding firsthand. Was just one of the highlights of the day for me. A day at the racetrack does not come without broken parts. So the Green Machine RX8 actually had the brake caliper from Gears and Gasoline on the front of it. I went through and serviced it and everything looked fine, but it did the same thing to Calvin as it did to Ben, and the caliper locked up on the racetrack. I stick a brake caliper, but I don't have a cap for this, so we're using the wrong one. This makes this a challenge. We had to fandangle our way around getting it fixed. I didn't bring a spare RX8 that we could actually take apart, so unfortunately for us, we were able to figure something out and get it fixed.
You put the bottom pin back in and like pry against that. It's hot through the glove. It's really hot.
Oh, you got a pad pusher inner?
Yeah, we need that. Yeah.
Oh. The heck?
Here's some like real running ones.
These are already hot.
Right, there you go. Pad pusher inner that now. Want to ruin those pads.
Are they good pads?
HT10s.
Oh yeah.
They've been on there for forever, dude. Couple of years.
They still got that much? Dang. You don't hardly use the brakes. Well, yeah, it's a momentum car.
Just stay floored all the time. That's how this one is. Crunchy dust cover in there. Bet this wasn't helping anything.
Yeah.
While Matt and Calvin are getting acquainted with the track, I have a ton of laps here at NCM. So, albeit this is the RADX7's second ever track day at NCM, we had a few things that we were sorting out and a few things that I always like to be better than I was the previous time. So my goal for the day was to set a new personal best and get this car into the 220s. My last outing, we ran a 231, so we're chasing down that 229.9. Shouldn't be too hard to do, but we had a few things going wrong with the car, nothing that was rotary driven ultimately. So I was still filling my catch can despite adding the drain back. However, it wasn't consistently doing it. So it was like, maybe once in a while I would get a little puff of smoke out the back of the car and then I'd come in and check it and the catch can would be empty, but for some reason it was still getting oil to the catch can. So I wrapped it in microfiber towel here just to limit my mess, which you can see we made a little bit of a mess, but nothing too crazy. We're able to still safely negotiate the track without dumping fluids everywhere. Very, very rare. It only happened about 3 times that I saw a little puff of oil. And what was really funny is that it actually wasn't filling the catch can. The oil was still just coming out of the catch can vent somehow. So it's real unfortunate. I've got to figure out a better solution for this. And I think that's going to be ditching this radium catch can setup and going to maybe a bigger sort of box, build a catch can for that corner with better ventilation, and just really try to figure out why I'm having this oiling issue. If you have any thoughts or comments or concerns, just let me know. This is literally a Turbo 2 engine with a GSLSE oil pan. This is not anything fancy or off the wall. This setup has been done a bajillion times. And you know, it might just be that my engine's a little tired and I'm creating a bunch of crankcase pressure and I'm just unable to vent it. Let's take a lap in the RX-7 and see if I can get that 2-minute and 29-second lap time. there's nothing more fulfilling than achieving a goal that you set out to achieve, especially at the racetrack. The RADX7 has become one of the most rad cars that I've been able to drive. It takes the do your taxes version of driving a racetrack in an RX8, throws that completely out the window, and this puts you on the fine edge of just visceral, rotary, lightweight race car experience. It would benefit greatly from a ton of aero, more downforce. These little tires just can't hang, especially in these big sweeping corners. But I'm stoked I was able to break my personal best. Let's take a lap with Matt and Calvin. We'll put both of them on the screen at the same time and see who ultimately had the faster lap time today and how they were driving both of basically the same Mazda RX-8. Up on the end of the day, I had to sit down with Matt and Calvin and just figure out what they learned and what they felt like they improved the most on for the track day themselves. This is, like I said earlier, one of the most fun things to be able to facilitate was seeing father and son out there on track, driving back and forth, RX8 passing RX8, just having a good time running in the novice group. And I can tell you what, they learned a bunch. I'm excited to bring them back out to the racetrack. In addition to next time we go, we can be a little bit more prepared. They know the track a little bit better. It'll be so cool to keep seeing them progress. But let's figure out what they learned at the end of the day and what the highlight of their day was. So for the last session of the day, Matt rode with me around the track, and it was fun to just kind of see his reaction to me, who has a ton of RX8 experience, just pushing the car just a little bit harder. We ran a little bit of a faster time in the car, which was a win to just inspire them to like how fast or how hard they can push it. Because the most important part when you come to the track is just being faster than yourself, not so much comparing your lap time to other people. So end of the track day, most important thing that you learned, plus the most fun part of the day.
I guess riding with you, see what the car can do. That was a lot of fun. I know I leave a lot of time out there. You definitely drive a lot harder than I do, so but it come with time and experience, I guess, maybe. Just everything seemed to slow up. I mean, after the last session or two, the laps seemed like they were so much shorter. Everything, just the time, just, I don't know. Everything just seemed to slow up and come easier or quicker, I guess. I don't know, but wasn't, I guess it comes with just relaxing, I don't know.
All right, Calvin, what was the most fun part of your day?
Like all in all, like what do you ask for out of a track day? Like come out and have fun and be faster than yourself, and I did that, you know.
Yeah. Tell them how many seconds you shaved off during the day.
I mean, I went from a 251 to a 246. So
heck yeah.
So not bad. I mean, there's definitely more time to be picked up. I was definitely like towards the end, I was stringing more corners together better.
Yeah.
Like instead of just having like a couple good corners and then messing up the next one, like I was getting more, you know, stringing more of them together, making a better lap all around. But I mean, all in all, just being out here racing and having fun. I guess we're not racing, but spending time on the track and getting Dad out here racing and getting to spend time with everybody.
Yeah. What would you say was the biggest thing you changed or learned out there that made the like biggest impact on your lap time?
Corner entries. Corner entry, like slowing down a little more, not driving quite so hard into the corners, but then having the late apex, being able to string a corner together smoother.
Okay.
You know, making it more like uniform and not making one corner two corners because I turned in too soon and then had to straighten back out and then turn in again.
Yep.
So I mean, that makes a big difference.
Awesome.
So all in all, great day.
Pumped. A little bit different than being a rally co-driver.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I guess I could have turned the traction control off and really felt like a rally driver.
Yeah.
Just like let the back end step out on a couple corners and slide around. But,
yeah. We could go for a ride in the RADX7 if you want.
So, but all in all, it was a great day. Couldn't ask for much more. So.
Awesome. Pumped. We're going to get everything loaded up and we'll be back to the ranch here shortly. One of my really good friends also came to the track. His name is Josh, and he has a YouTube channel called Castawall Speed. He has a rotary swapped Mazda Miata, but it's not just any rotary. This is a peripheral port 13B revving to 9,000 RPM with a crazy side pipe, full aero in a Miata. And let me tell you, he is one heck of a driver. So I was super stoked to get him to ride along with me for some session laps in the RX7, because one of the things, I don't particularly like getting in the car with other people who I don't really like trust as a driver. It just kind of scares me. So one thing that kind of made me feel good, not like tooting my own horn here a little bit, is that Josh was willing to jump in a 300 horsepower literal death trap of a car with somebody that he'd never ridden with me before in any car, I don't think. So it kind of makes you feel good as a driver that some other experienced driver's like, okay, I can jump in the car with this guy. We're not going to die. And this is going to be a super fun lap or laps around the track. And I can tell you, this last session with Josh and the RADX7, I got some criticism from him after the run, and I'm super stoked because one of the best things about track days is just getting better, guys. You want to go there. You don't want to try to destroy all your friends. You just want to be better than you were at the start of the day. Self-improvement, comparison is the thief of joy. Just get out and have fun. But check this out. We had a blast ripping the RADX7 for the last session of the day.
for the ride.
You got it.
That's the first time I've ever rode in somebody else's car on track. It was not as bad as I was expecting it to be.
What would you say? Let's see what we ran. We ran a 230 flat.
Nice.
That's not bad for 2 people in there.
Yeah.
I mean, would you say, like, as far as constructive criticism of the driving, like, definitely my braking zones are a little rough just because I don't trust the pedal and inconsistent. But,
you coming out of 6 into 7,
yeah,
you can stay further left longer, and you kind of give up 7 for 8 because you wanna come out of 7 and like stay up against the grass on the right side.
On the right side, okay.
And then when you come across 8, you could almost be full throttle through that.
Okay.
Doing that, and then just 16, but that's a big arrow thing.
Yeah.
And then coming into 6 itself.
Yeah.
Maybe you need to like left foot brake for that and then swap.
Okay.
Because it's like you can brake a lot more what's good, like smoothly there, and you could drive a lot further in.
Okay.
You're over slowing the car into 6 because it's so sketchy.
Yeah, because the biggest thing for me that I have to like consciously think of from 5 to 6 is I need my car pointed straight.
Yes.
Before I hit the brakes, like because if I try to trail brake or do weird, like this car gets upset real fast in that area, which is probably why I'm timid coming into that corner, because I've just like, I mean, I've came into that corner sketchy, even today, like earlier today, you know, and that's just one of those where it's like, the wall comes up pretty quick through 6. You know, you have a little runoff, but...
And then the other one would be deception.
Okay.
You can put the tires on the grass almost on the left side, and then you pretty much want to jump the curb.
Okay. Yeah, I like kind of do that, but...
Most of the time you were missing the apex. You were turning in a little late. You gotta turn in a lot earlier.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then the S's coming on the back straight, onto the front straight, you want to late apex them a lot.
Yeah.
So you give up the first couple really bad so that the last
like that's what I'm doing, or that's what I want to do?
That's what you need to do.
Okay.
And then that way when you come on the front straight, you should be like floored coming onto the front straight.
Yeah. I know that's what I need to do. I guess I just need to late apex more. I feel like I
driving when you the first
I come out of the single too far inside, and then
that's good.
No, that's good.
You stay farther. You just need to stay left longer for the right-hander, for the first right-hander. Like you're driving across the curb on the first one, you don't need to drive across the curb. Okay. You stay further out.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Perfect. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Dude. So we finally reached the end of the video, and I can tell you guys, thank you so much for watching all the videos, and thank you especially for tuning into this one. I know this wasn't some crazy, driving line competition with father and son, head-to-head, just tons of drama. This was literally just us having a good time at the track, and I can tell you that there were tons of smiles that were had, especially we were the only guys out there representing the Rotary, spitting tons of flames out on the racetrack. So we didn't film an outro at the racetrack or ultimately an intro at the racetrack because this video is it's hectic for me as not only the filmer, editor, driving my car on track, providing another car for somebody else to drive on track, also just trying to document the whole weekend to ultimately keep everything together. And I kind of struggled this weekend as far as managing the content side of the video. In addition, Josh on his tow rig, we ran out of daylight really fast because Castle Speed, Josh, his Suburban tow rig blew a brake line. So we had to run, get brake line, splice it in, rebleed the brakes. Needless to say, at the end of the night, I was completely covered in brake fluid from helping him fix his truck. And I'm so thankful that they made it home safely. Calvin and Matt made it home safely, and we made it back to the Rad Ranch safely with all 24 of our Apex seals intact. So with that, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Go check out the Patreon if you're buying a cheap RX8 or you have an FD that doesn't run or you have any rotary engine build questions. On Patreon, there's a thing called Rad Solutions. I make videos to answer your guys' questions on Patreon in addition to other ways to support the channel on Patreon. You can check out RadWorks on there as well for all the secret behind-the-scenes top speed projects. So with that, live a life you don't need a vacation from, and I will see you guys in the next video. Keep it rad. Let me tell you, not being at the racetrack to finish out the video feels kind of weird, but I hope that we still had a ton of energy in this video. I really had a ton of fun at the racetrack, and I know it was just so fulfilling seeing Matt and Calvin out there just enjoying themselves, and father-son bonding experience was super cool, to put them in a little bit of a different element being at the racetrack, but still so much of the same experience, having to learn racetrack driving the car hard, and all of that. It was super fun to get out, and I took Matt for a ride in his own car at the end of the day. And, you know, like my buddy Matt Cole and Jacob and the whole other kind of Tennessee crew, is like there's that one guy in the crew that always will drive your car faster than you drive your own car. So kind of set a little bit faster of a lap time than Matt in his own car, but that's okay. We ran a pretty good time. The RX8s, I ran a 240 in the RX8, the green one. I ran a 242 in the Shinka, which is, for not having sway bars and stuff, is really good. And the RX7 ran a 229. Josh and his P-Port Miata ran like a 224. So we were all kind of right in there, battling it out a little bit, you know, but it was just super fun to enjoy it at the track. And I know normally at the end of these videos I don't continue talking about the video, but it was just a good time, guys. It was such a good time. So lots of new stuff to continue on at the ranch. We've got a whole schedule of videos over there. I'm tuning the yellow car this week, and I'm excited to continue on. Also, get excited because the 4-rotor FD is going on the dyno, and I can't wait to hear this thing rip too well. We'll see how high we can rev it before we run out of oil pressure. So with that, keep it rad. Peace.